talking about the Christmas break. Howdy, 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 ho, everybody. How's everyone doing today? Now, time for you, Padsay, to say, hi, I'm doing,
Oh, I'm good. I thought you were talking to the listeners, and then I'd be introduced, and I say hi, and
well, I'm
I
talking to
thought
the
that.
listeners and you. But yeah, it's
Okay,
Padsay, and he's doing
awesome.
awesome. And I'm Duhad, and I'm doing pretty good.
Just only
It,
pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good. So yeah, as those of you who follow along on the YouTubes may have been aware, we did lose basically the entirety of last week's show due to technical errors, which I'm actually going to just double check right now because those technical errors were horrible. Yeah, everything seems to be in order. I have no idea what happened last time. That was really weird. Anyway, but yeah, no, things got kind of wonky, and so we lost a very good show. And we'll probably be going over a couple of things we went over last week, this week, just to catch you all up on it. But before we do that, it's almost getting close to Christmas time, and also Hanukkah and Kwanzaa probably.
But you know what's closer to?
What is it?
The premiere of the Battle of Five Armies.
Oh boy,
Yeah,
are you excited?
I am, but my other half is even more excited, and I think she's already bought tickets for the premiere in town.
Oh man,
Yeah, yeah.
yes.
I think we have our tickets, so we're going to be going because I think it's at like a 3 o'clock premiere.
Ooh,
Yeah.
nice.
No midnight here. We're too small.
That's all right. So what is what day is it coming out exactly?
I think it's the 13th.
The third. Oh wow, it's Saturday. Wow, Saturday.
Oh no,
Wow.
sorry, the 15th, I think.
Oh, I was gonna
It's
say
like
wow,
Tuesday or
that's
Wednesday.
like super close. All right, so yeah,
I,
so that'll be Monday then.
yeah, it's somewhere around there. All I know is I'm on vacation, so it's like, yeah, we'll do it, and then she like jumped for joy and it's like, yeah, 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 yeah. I was like,
Battle of the Five Armies is
What are we
being.
talking about exactly?
It's not a, and it's the 17th. The 17th. So that's a Wednesday.
13th? Okay.
Hi.
Hey.
Hello.
So yeah, we were just talking about the upcoming release of The Hobbit, the Battle of the Five Armies, which
I
and
don't
his,
follow Lord of the Rings, I'm afraid.
That's all right, but Patsade and his better half are getting ready
Queen of the
to
Pad Girls.
yes. Well, that the queen of the Pad Girls is going to be very excited for the release of the movie, which is great. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun.
Yay!
Woo-hoo. So, Nani, how have
Movies
you
are
been doing?
fun.
We haven't seen you around for a little bit.
Yes, and Nani's embarrassed to mention it, but I think we're all on the same basis that Nani is at least chronically frail, if not chronically unwell.
I
And just as soon as winter has hit, I have been almost completely non-functional.
oh
So here's
jeez.
hoping I can speak in a legible manner today, but
You sound okay
showed
for
up.
what it's worth, but like, oh jeez, I'm so sorry, Nani.
That's okay. That's okay.
Feel
But
better.
indeed, I hesitate to mention this, but have you ever considered that being paralyzed by the cold and all, you might be slightly more comfortable living in a place that was less frozen half the year?
Well, to my credit, being raised here where I am in the in Nova Scotia, Canada, like I'm accustomed to the cold right up until some very unfortunate medical incidents
Oh jeez.
where I can't handle any temperature fluctuation whatsoever, but the heat is even worse for me actually.
Oh
So
wow. So it's just like the worst case.
I have about a handful of months where I'm kind of okay, and then the rest of the year it's just trying to figure out how to work around it.
Jeez.
Yes, lovely times. But
Indeed. But hey,
hey, I
you're
have
here.
cute
You're
friends to hang
sounding
out with,
okay.
so
Yeah, you're here. You're sounding okay. You're alive. All good things.
yes.
So We were last week talking about the release of a bunch of movie trailers. I know that Nana, you are so excited for the release of movies, big Hollywood blockbusters. Your favorite?
No, but Corner Gas was released last week, and I dragged my tired, unwell, nonny ass to the theater to see it, and it was amazing.
Oh, geez, what movie was this?
This is a
Corner
Canadian
Gas
movie. Pad Save, you must know this.
I know, but I don't think I got to see it. I don't think it came out in my
It's
town.
okay, it's okay. They're airing it on the 17th on CTV.
Hey.
I don't have cable.
Oh.
CTV is a basic channel.
No, I don't have cable at all.
You don't even
Well,
have
it's
like
not
the.
cable. You mean you don't have like?
He means he literally doesn't even
television
have
reception.
cables connected to his television. It is just a
I-
box
It's
in
not,
his living
it's not
room.
cable. I don't have cable either. But man, Pad Save, you're gonna have to buy the DVD. It was so good.
I know. I plan on buying the DVD. It's like on,
I
on
saw
my.
it, and then I immediately wanted to see it again. And also, instead of previews, they did this whole pre-show thing, and it was amazing. And I was so excited. I managed to sit still actually for 3 hours, which was hard because I have a stimming issue. But
Oh man.
Yay!
Congratulations though. Like this movie sounds amazing.
Oh man.
It probably wasn't 3 hours, but
It's a movie based off of a TV show that I want to say it had like 7 seasons.
Oh wow.
And,
it was
or
six
it was
or
like
7.
yeah.
I'm ashamed to not know this. I know like all the other trivia.
But it was based in this like little tiny Saskatchewan town, and it's about a little
They
tiny.
actually bought a piece of Saskatchewan and built this town. That's how little Canadians there are living
That's-
around.
that's
They could
amazing.
just buy it and build a fake town.
Oh
And
jeez.
it's like I want to say like the creator Brent, but he pretty much told his writing staff like for this entire thing I don't want any character growth.
Really?
So yeah, so the entire thing like every time it's like something like tiny happens, but it's blown out of proportion because it's like one of these tiny like in their own rut towns.
It has defined Canadian humor, but at the same time is completely inaccessible to Americans. They just don't understand why it's funny. Like my sister and I's favorite thing to explain like our favorite joke in the show that really gets an odd reaction from other people is there's one episode where you go into the episode and there's a Coke can on the counter of the gas station. They all work like one of the main scenes is the gas station, the local
Right.
gas station, because that's like the only hub of anything other than a bar. Small town.
Jeez.
And there's a can of Coke there, and one of the guys looks in, he's like, "Hey, whose Coke is this?" And the other guy's like, "I don't know." And so the first guy drinks it, and then, later on in the episode, the girl walks into the gas station, and she's like, "Hey, who drank my Coke?" That was the joke. It's not funny, but it's so funny to us Canadian people who don't understand American humor.
I know, I love that. I love that. Like, I get like in the broad sense how that's funny, but I love the idea of like that happening and people just cracking up because like it's so not like a thing that really registers with me, but like the fact that it does with you guys is just great. It's like the best.
No, that's the humor of the show. It's just little things like that you don't necessarily notice unless you're looking for them, but they're really funny if you know it's there.
That's
But
amazing.
there was something else I was going to say, and now I forgot. Fudge. My short-term memory is especially bad right now.
Oh jeez.
Was it? I think one of my favorite ones was they found an old like tabletop hockey game, with the metal
The
figures.
good old table hockey game.
Yes.
I love that episode.
And
Okay.
so they have this, and one of the local cops it turns out that she's really good at hockey. So everyone makes this big stink that the Brent, the main guy, is like the best in town, and then people start playing the female cop Karen, and it's like she's really good. They should play each other, and so they end up having a tournament or like a giant, I'll say like a Stanley
Table
Cup
hockey series.
Yeah, but instead of following suite with the Lord Stanley Cup of having like the best of 7 series, they go for a best of 8. And one of the first things like 8. What's up with that? Like, we'll worry about it later. And then they try to they all crowd around it in the basement. So then they try to shove people away. And one guy's going to I'll just videotape it and send the stream up to the TV. And it's all black and white, and everybody's complaining that it's in black and white, and it's like,
Yeah,
oh,
and
it's,
when we say TV, we don't mean a big TV. We're talking like a little tiny TV you'd put in a bedroom, like those ones that are actually a square.
Right. Yeah.
yeah, maybe a 20-inch black and white tube TV.
Oh jeez.
And then you got like this like big group of people gathering around it, like
The
you would.
entire town comes in to see this little tiny TV to watch the table hockey series because that's the most exciting thing that's ever happened in their town.
And I think during this entire time, there's one character who was introduced at the very beginning, but she's from Toronto, so
Ooh.
she's like not
She's my
used to
favorite.
this. She's not used to this whole kind of like small town stuff. So she's always trying to make changes and this and that. And she nominates this other character to be like, oh, she's a great influence in the town and this and that. But when it comes to coming into the house for the game, so it's like we're taking money. No, it's like you should take money for the
Charity.
game and give it to charity. It's like, no, just give me the money.
What's the name of the series?
Corner Gas.
Corner Gascast?
Yes. I am very sure there must be torrents out there because I have all the episodes hiding on my PlayStation right now.
Mm.
But if not, and you want to watch an episode, Duhad, let me know because I have them all and I will get one to you.
I have them as well.
Or a
I'm pretty
handful.
sure. I'm pretty sure.
Like, you
between
need
the
to
three
see
of
this,
us-
Duhad. Seriously.
I will endeavor to try and find it. I'm sure I can probably find it on like Netflix or Canadian Netflix
It
or
is
something.
the most significant television show in my life, and that is sad but amazing at the same time. And I remembered what I wanted to say.
All right.
One of the things about it that I like so much too, that makes it so accessible to me especially, is because it is so stagnant in what character development is allowed. Nobody ever gets in a relationship with anyone else.
Nice.
And this was very pleasing to me because most sitcoms have the mandatory episodes about who is sleeping with who, or if it's a family sitcom, then sex ed and stuff. And I'm like, I don't want to hear this. I don't want to see this. I just want to see really dumb jokes about Coke cans.
and they just do that. It's like whatever. No, it's
So that's one of the most significant things in the series for me too. Is like, yay, this doesn't exist. Romance
Yay.
and sex are like completely gone in this town, except for one or
it's
two
where
episodes.
sex
There's a
is
sexy
universe.
fishing guy episode. Tag save, you know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
But other than that,
The sexy
and,
fishing guy.
and the milk guy.
oh, 2%. You a homo man, Joe? Oh yes, I remember that completely.
There was another one where all of a sudden a bunch of truckers start showing up at the restaurant because it's like most small towns you have the restaurant attached to the gas station, and
Everyone that I go to does.
and it's all of a sudden like dozens of transport truckers just start showing up. And one of the things is right away it's, oh, we heard from the trucker pipeline that this was a good place to eat. And the girl from Toronto who runs the restaurant was, oh, well, send it back up the pipeline that, I say thanks. It's like, oh, no. Word only comes down the pipeline. It doesn't go back up.
She's like, well, fly it up the flagpole then.
and
He's like,
they
oh,
just,
yes.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
I'll
it's
do that.
it's like, okay. And like looking at her like she has like two heads.
Oh, yeah.
And it
Oh,
annoyed me
in that
because
same episode, too, one of them wants to borrow a Lamborghini to seem like they're this really hot shot person, and they get the truckers to form a gang and borrow a Lamborghini. Like a trucker mafia. The show was just really random.
I like this. This amuses me.
there is another good one where they all ended up getting tickets to the Grey Cup.
Oh, I just
it's
watched an episode yesterday.
The Grey Cup is like our Super Bowl.
Okay, fair enough.
It's our football thing, and they all get tickets, and they all end up going in like pairs of two to go into the big city, which I think it's Saskatoon.
Yes.
Yeah,
That
And they had to buy
legendary
pairs of team
hot
tickets 'cause they
metropolis.
couldn't all sit together because they would have had to pay more. If they got random tickets here and there, they paid less, and everybody's cheap.
yeah. But
This is
in the
also a
end,
funny joke of that episode.
yeah, nobody ends up getting to see the game because one pair ends up getting like running out of gas, and another pair ends up going into looking for like an old friend to see how he's doing. He ends up being dead, so they end up trying to take the belt buckle. That ends up being like their hijinks, and then
They
there's
get
like
detained in
Yeah.
jail temporarily.
Oh jeez.
And I think, didn't two sets of characters get detained too? Because doesn't Davis temporarily get detained after assuming that the hooker is actually a scalper?
a scalpel. Yes.
Wait, what?
Okay, there's
one of the guys is oblivious to everything. That's kind of a running joke. And he goes to scalp tickets after he loses his set of tickets, but he goes up to a prostitute.
Oh, jeez. So he accidentally tries to hires a prostitute while trying to scalp her tickets.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, jeez.
And
oh, jeez.
What makes it even better is that this guy is the head officer back in the little town. Like there's only 2 cops, and he's like the senior officer, and he's like completely oblivious to like everything.
He doesn't actually know how to be a cop. He just likes the idea of being a cop.
He's like, oh yeah.
Like in one episode, they literally sum up that the reason he became a cop, I think it was the reason he became a cop, is because he wanted to have a police dog. but they can't have a police dog because they don't need a police dog because nothing happens in Dog River, which is the town.
Dog River. I like that town name. Welcome to Dog River. Home, population 74 and 1 gas station.
What was the population? I remember they did an episode where they counted the population.
I want to think it was like, it must have only been like 200 or if that.
Yeah, I think it was about 200 in the end. They also had another episode though where a foreigner guy comes, like a foreigner from America. That's really funny. But he was trying to get to Moose Jaw or something, or Moose
Jaw.
Deer
Canyon.
Deer Lake. He was trying to get to Deer Lake, and they're like, "No, you're in Dog River." And then they start laughing, and he's like, "What?" And they're like, "Dog, Deer, River, Lake." He's like, "Oh." It's like the fact that the American in the show doesn't understand the Canadian humor that's going on in the show was really funny.
That's actually pretty good. I like that.
Or they've had like friends of the Torontonian come in, and they all like end up doing like the self-job, like, "Oh, but you're not used to like the country lifestyle, and we're so slack-jaw yokel," and it's like, yeah, okay, just like the rest of the country.
And one time they actually had a visitor come from a really smaller town than them, and she's like, "Wow, your town is so big. You have so much exciting going on. Is this like Dog River's red light district?" It's like, no, there's nothing in this town at all.
It's like we have a bar. Oh my God, you had a bar? Really?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, jeez.
What was it?
It's the best show in the world.
Sounds pretty wonderful.
Yeah, you remember the time when before we had smartphones, and we had the flip phones, everybody was trying to get like a smaller and smaller phone.
Oh, geez, yeah.
There was actually one episode where the senior cop and the gas station owner like tried outdoing each other through the episode to get smaller and smaller phones because they were going to put a new cell tower up in the town.
Oh.
There's an episode for literally everything that you didn't know was a thing. I also have to add that I actually have an aunt and uncle who are exactly like Emma and Oscar, and that just makes it 1,000 times funnier for me. Head save, you'll understand what I mean.
Yes.
That is always fun when it's like
that is literally
you watch
my
a show
aunt and my uncle,
and you're like, "Oh my goodness, that character is me," or "Oh my goodness, I know these characters like in real life."
But yes, we have to.
Oh, you guys gonna call each other and talk about the Powerpuff Girls?
Yeah.
That was like
call each other on your Barbie phones because they ended up near the end getting like phones imported from like Japan and Korea to have like these little tiny things like the size of your thumb. And as soon as these comments were made about calling each other on their Barbie phones, they went and they got the old like Motorola like brick phones.
Oh jeez.
After the girls stole their phones and started to pretend like they were toys.
There's
also an episode dedicated to switching from film cameras to digital cameras and having no idea how to turn them on. Also never knowing to put the manual upside down to read the words.
Oh jeez, I do remember that. Like I did live through that experience of like the digital cameras. Where's the film go?
I think we all remember that.
Anyone worked in any sort of field that involved cameras, or anyone who had like like parents or something who were big into like family movies or anything will probably remember the point where it was like, no, we don't actually need the tapes anymore. We don't need to get like a tape deck in order to digitize all of the film. You just film it and you put it up on the computer.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah.
I remember when they used to pretty much have a VHS inside. Like some of them actually had a VHS inside the camera.
Yes, my
weird.
grandparents.
Yeah, no, I remember that. Yeah, you could like rewind and like play.
You didn't even have to put it on a special tape and then transfer that tape to the VHS. It literally a VHS tape came out and it was like, what is this sorcery? This is so high tech. And then digital cameras came out.
The future is now. Oh wait, no, it's this. This is the future.
And the first digital cameras were so bad, like digital camcorders.
Oh yeah.
They were so laughably bad. All you would get was grainy shades of color.
Yeah, the technology did not advance that quickly. Actually, I kind of was hearing recently this kind of funny story about like the whole Betamax thing. That's not even really close to film. Anyway, I was hearing this kind of funny thing about the whole Betamax thing. Like, I'm sure some of you old folks probably remember back in the day when there was VHS and there was Betamax, and Betamax got whooped by film, and like the thing was like it was kind of like this whole big scandal like with certain like techie people, because it was like, oh man, like nowadays looking back, like Betamax looked amazing. Like Betamax tapes looked so much better than VHS tapes, because like they filmed cleaner and they had better sound, and like they're just way better tapes. But the thing about them was they were not the tapes of the future that we just ignored in favor of VHS, because there was one particular thing about these Betamax tapes that made them kind of terrible. Do you want to take a wild guess at what it might have been?
Well, the thing with the Betamax is they were a superior quality, but there might have been issues with them. But it was also Sony that kind of dug the grave for the Betamax too. Like Sony was like, it's okay, because I know most of the people listening are younger. Pretty much the Betamax VHS is the old school version of HD DVD and Blu-ray.
Yes.
And what it was Sony was like made their format of Betamax, and they made the Betamax player. But they're like, no, we're not going to tell you how to make it. We're not going to share any patents or anything. The Betamax player is ours. And then everyone else was like, okay, well, we'll just make VHS. VHS is more accessible, and then VHS took off.
Pretty much. There's also one other thing, though. Like, that was a pretty big one. There's one other thing that was kind of notable. When Betamax came out and they started making Betamax, you know how, like, with some older movies, like with some older VHS movies, you'd have to buy a movie and it would come, like, on, like, 2 tapes because the movie was so long that, like, the VHS couldn't hold the whole thing?
Yes, I have some of these in my collection.
Yeah, so...
My cat's VHS is 2 separate discs.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like, they could get...
discs, tapes.
Tapes, yeah. But, yeah, they could get kind of ridiculous. And it's like, like if a movie was, like, I don't know, like an hour and 50 minutes or something, then you'd need a second tape.
Forget if you want to watch a series.
Yeah, oh, jeez. Yeah, no, exactly. Here's the thing. Betamax were about half the size, could hold about half the amount of film as a VHS. So every movie required 2 tapes, and long movies required 4 tapes.
Oh dear.
Yeah, they were like, when they came out, they were not very well designed for that. They're sort of like, here, we've made way higher quality videos. Only problem is you're gonna sort of, they sort of aren't really like compressed or anything. They're just way bigger files that we've shoved into the equivalent of way bigger files that we've shoved into this thing.
Tapes and stuff, they take so much room to store.
Oh yeah, and Betamax was larger. Betamax were larger tapes on top of that, so they were kind of unwieldy.
Yeah, like, I only have a collection of maybe 50 or 60 VHS tapes, and trying to find somewhere to put them all is quite a feat.
Yeah. Obviously, as Pat said, there are other reasons as well. The Betamax was kind of a cluster of silliness, but yeah, there were some severe flaws with the whole Betamax program.
But if in an alternate reality where maybe Sony did be like, hey, here's how you Betamax.
It
With
might
that,
happen, yeah.
it might have happened, and who knows, the form factor could have been cut down over time, or even better storage with or utilization of the space on the tape.
Yep.
It could have happened eventually. I
It
don't know if
wasn't
you
a
could.
yeah, it wasn't a death sentence. What was a death sentence was Sony.
Yeah,
Sony, you big dummies.
because it's the same thing with the Blu-ray and HD DVD. Like, it was the Blu-ray had superior quality, but it was also it was they didn't be like, Blu-ray is our thing. Like, no one else will know how to make Blu-ray. It'll be us.
Yeah. I mean, like, to be fair, you saw almost the exact same thing happen with, like, the PS3, where the PS3 went from, like, the PS2 was one of the highest grossing video game consoles of all time. Like, it was ridiculous. And then going to the PS3 was, it wasn't, like, bad or anything. It didn't, like, bomb. But it was way, 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 way less, like, market dominating than the PS2 had been, and kind of got, outsold by both the Wii U and later in the, like, quite a few points in the generation by the Xbox 360. And a large part of that was that they did the exact same thing over again. They're like, no, we have proprietary technology. You can't have it. You have to, like, have, like, our special, like, certification stuff. And it made third-party developers just be like, nope. Well, don't want to deal with that.
They also burned some bridges too with the user base, because what was it, when the original PS3 was going to come out, it was going to be like, yeah, you can put Linux on this, and you can have it as like a Linux media device, and you can do this and that, and it was like, oh my god, that's going to be awesome. And then when they get it, they couldn't put Linux on it.
Yeah, Sony has a weird problem with this sort of stuff. Like, they make great technology, and then they sort of get really, really high-handed about it. I really do not know what is up with them, because they also they do the same thing over and over again, and like, it's not like they can just do it forever. They've had serious financial troubles in the past, and by past I mean fairly recently. And like, I don't know, like, it's such a weird company.
Well, what is it? They've had an instance where, if you break it down to like subsidiaries and all that, they've sued themselves.
Oh, jeez.
Like, I can't remember how it was broken down, but like a music division that was owned by Sony ended up suing like a tech division that ended up being owned by Sony. So the music,
That's helpful.
Yeah. But I want to say it was like a subsidiary or like a one-off, where it was like Company A owned by Sony was ending up like suing Company C, which was owned by Sony.
That's just, wow.
But then again, I found this on the internet, so I don't know if it's true.
You know what? Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised, really. Like, I could totally see a large company, like, especially, like, not even just Sony, but, like, any really large company getting to the point where their subsidiary companies just get to a point where they are suing one another without even realizing that they are part of the same whole, until, like the corporate, like bureaucracy finally catches up, sorting through all the paperwork and realizes that they've sued themselves.
And then they get taken off the Christmas card list.
Yep. Oh, jeez. But yeah, so far we've talked about Sony, Corner Gas. Oh yeah, like, looping back to the original point, so the Corner Gas movie was made?
Yes.
Yes. It was done on Kickstarter. It was really cool.
Oh, nice.
Well,
So what was the Corner Gas, the movie, the Kickstarter project about?
They wanted they wanted somewhere in the thousands. I can't remember if it was 10,000 or 100,000, and they wanted to get it, I want to say, like, within a couple weeks, but they got it within a couple days.
Wow. And for a movie, that's actually pretty low budget.
I caught on to the Kickstarter after it was finished, so I don't have much to say about it.
Fair enough.
But I think it's really cool that, like, fans promoted the movie.
Yeah, no, that's great.
And then it actually went into the theaters. They paid to get it into the theaters.
Oh, man. So what,
and it actually did so well there that they had to, like, I know when I went to see it here, the tickets had assigned us to one of the small theaters in the theater building, And when I got there, the guy at the door was actually like, yeah, we had to move everyone to the bigger theater. So
Oh, jeez.
it was in a bigger theater. When I got there, it was packed to the brim. The funny thing I was up until the very end when some children came in, I was the youngest person there. Everyone was mostly in their 50s. So apparently this is a show that is not intended for my generation, but yeah, it was such a popular run that it was supposed to end. I think I went to see it on the last day, which was the 7th maybe. And they actually went and extended it for another week because
That's fantastic.
all the shows were selling out. So the power of fandom.
Woo!
I hope more movies will be made in that fans will encourage.
Corner
That would be a good
Gascon
thing.
2015. Make it happen, people.
Oh my god, I would die.
Gascon.
Yes.
Gascon.
God,
Gascon!
Best idea ever.
I love it. I approve.
Absolutely go to that.
I know you would, and I highly encourage anyone who's
I would
listening.
make a Corner Gas printed Lolita dress. I don't know how that would work, but I would do it. Little cute gas pumps with little pink ribbons or something.
You know what? I want to see this enough that I'm like, yeah, no. People out there of the YouTubes, if anyone hears this who has any sort of ability to make this happen, make it happen. The Canadians will thank you.
Fudging, yes.
And Duhad, we will get you to see Corner Gas. It will be
we're
done.
making it now.
I'm sure.
Yes.
I'll be looking this up after the show probably. Well, probably
you will be forced to watch all 7 seasons now. You're screwed.
Okay, fair enough.
I can do it in about 3 or 4 days, so you can definitely do it over a couple months, maybe.
Okay. I guarantee I'll watch all 7 seasons in less time than it took to air all 7 seasons.
Probably.
That's
Gee.
fair. That's fair.
Yeah, but no, that's great. So how and the movie was good?
I liked it.
Nice.
There was one little thing at the end. I was kind of like, but up until that point, no, it was really true to the show. It was really good. Some of the filming direction I would have done a little bit differently, but that's solely a stylistic choice. And plot-wise and character-wise and everything, it's just the same as watching episodes of the show again. It's just yes, this is exactly the thing that I came to see, that I've been watching for the past... Oh dear, when did that start airing? Multitudes of years, anyway.
Many years ago.
There's been a 5-year break, and we'll say that there
Bloody
was...
Peter.
We'll say 6 seasons to give us that 1 year fudge factor. So
Right.
11 years. So 2003-ish?
I was gonna say 2002, so that sounds about right.
Okay, now to Wiki to confirm.
Wiki confirmation go. But wowza cowza.
I have literally watched that show continuously. I just go back to the beginning and watch it through to the end, and go back to the beginning and watch it through to the end. Since it began.
Oh jeez. And now you have the movie to add to that collection. And if it does this
my
well...
dad and I left the theater going, we're buying the Blu-ray. We're so buying the Blu-ray. Well, maybe not the Blu-ray, the DVD maybe. I don't really understand Blu-ray, so we have a PS3, so...
Fair enough. I'm also just thinking, man, with how well it did, it'd be wonderful if, this led to, some sort of revival or a second movie or something, just
Well, the problem with it was it never ended because it was unpopular. It ended because they didn't want to see it become unpopular. Not in the sense that
they didn't want to run out of ideas.
They don't want that hype, but that they didn't want to run it into the ground by making it progressively worse.
Yeah, it was
so they're 7 seasons is a good place to stop.
That's fair. I do love the idea of them going no, we don't. It's not that we're afraid we're going to run out of ideas. We just don't want to get to the point where we're deliberately going now, time to make it worse.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got it up. It started in January of 2004 and ended in April of 2009. So there were 6 seasons, but this makes me want to say something, and I'm hoping that somebody else will get the reference. But 6 seasons in a movie.
I have no
I'm
idea.
Lost.
I don't know, but that's
that was from Community.
Oh man, I need to see Community.
Well, there was one line they were talking about the Cape, the show that was there, and one of the characters says, "Oh, it's not going to last," and the other guy retorts, 6 seasons in a movie, and from there it was like the running line for that series
That they do like 6 seasons in a movie.
and the movie, but it ended on 4. But here for Corner Gas, we got 6 seasons in a movie.
That's pretty good. You beat Community. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Poor Community. Yeah, I seriously want to watch Community. I just like. Do you know what it aired on? Was it like HBO or?
It's on Netflix.
No. Oh, it is.
Yeah, that's where I saw it.
Oh my goodness! I didn't even know it was on Netflix.
Well, it's on Canadian Netflix, so I'd hope it's on American Netflix.
Well, it's not. I'll
There's always those
Canadian.
little Hola flipper things.
The
The little
Holo
apps
flip
that
thing?
go in your web browser and you can flip it to different countries.
Oh man, I might have to do that. I might have to lie about being a
I
Canadian.
can teach you how to do that if you want. I had to teach my dad.
I'll see. If they deny me Community because I'm an American, I will lie and say, "Oh yeah, no, I'm a Canadian. It's alright."
Well, see, they deny me so many things because I am Canadian, and the U.S. site gets more stuff that I'm like, I watch everything on the U.S. site now. Sorry, but also. Where, like, Canadian culture, I think I've explained this before, that Canadian and British culture goes hand in hand. When I wanted to watch, like, British stuff, then I have to switch it to British. Like, they were holding things back for me. I'm like, no, I need to see this. So.
I needed my Who fix.
I don't watch Who.
Who
and Sherlock both are on Canadian and American Netflix, but I watch Sherlock, I will say. I don't like the American one, but I like the British one. But
I've never seen the American one.
Who.
I don't see any reason to watch the American Sherlock Holmes. It just seems like such an odd.
Yeah, you're not really missing anything other than a couple scenes of excellent filming direction.
Well, at least it's got that going for it, I guess.
Yeah, the opening is truly masterful. But other than the opening, it doesn't have a lot of value to me.
I like the idea of like a show just having a wonderful opening and that being like the selling point. Okay, yeah, so they have Community but only on DVD, so it's time to pretend to be Canadian.
Yeah.
We already said you're an honorary Canadian anyway, so that counts.
Yeah, pretty much. I don't feel guilty about this. They do have Parks and Recreation though, which I feel like I should watch at some point because like apparently it's funny, and the Chris Pratt is in it, and so is a bunch of other amusing people, and it's like one of those like shows. It's like 30 Rock, where it's like a show that was written and starring a lady and is extremely funny and sort of like a ha, ladies are funny. Shut up. Common
Yay,
misconceptions
ladies.
about lady comedians.
Some lady comedians are really funny. Look at Ellen.
Yeah, Ellen's funny. I think the
I
other
love
thing is
Ellen.
like I think you probably would enjoy Parks and Recreation. From what I've seen of it, it seems like your kind of show in that it's about like the world's most enthusiastic, super small scale like city council like a super small scale. What was it called? Not someone who works in a bureaucracy. It's not a beautician.
Bureaucrat?
What?
Bureaucrat.
Thank you. Basically it's the story about a bureaucrat, like this lady who is like a bureaucrat in charge of Parks and Recreation in a tiny little town, and she has like a budget of like $50 annually and a tiny staff of community service people. And her job is to basically look after a single tiny park, but she's like super enthusiastic about the idea of taking care of this park, and has like all these big ideas about improving the community through this park. And it's just,
This does
super
sound
adorable.
something up our alley.
Yes. Like I'm just hearing it. I'm just like now that I think about it, it very much is kind of like the bureaucratic version of Corner Gas. In
I don't
many
know.
ways.
It looks like it's in a bigger town, like Woolerton.
True. It's a slightly bigger town, but like it's still like this teeny little town. There's like a whole ongoing joke about how they have a rivalry with another town that is also
Oh
so
my god, that's one
incredibly
of the
small.
things
It's
in
just
Corner
nothing.
Gas. That's one of the things in Corner Gas. Oh my god, I have to watch this show now.
They have a rivalry with their neighboring town of Woolerton.
And what they have to spit every time you say Willerton.
Oh, nice. No, like I haven't seen it like all of Parks and Rec, but like I did see this one episode where they were kind of doing this whole thing where like the lead lady just like loads this other town because they're slightly larger and have a slightly better park and stuff. And like they go over there and they're just the nicest people in the world.
Oh my
Like
god,
they're
wait, I
super
just thought of
helpful and
something.
nice.
I have to say to Pet Save before I forget.
All right.
Pet Save.
Yes.
In in the Corner Gascast movie, you finally see Woolaton.
Oh man.
They went to Woolaton, and you got to see Woolaton and meet the Woolatonites. And it was so weird, and I won't spoil it for you, but that was a thing. Be excited.
Jesus.
Oh, now I have to see it. Now I have to see it.
Okay, this is officially turning into to the end, the Corner Gascast.
The weird Canadians take over the show and talk only about our favorite, really obscure television series.
You hear that, America? It's time for you to get multicultural, boy.
Seriously, I mean, we watch all your crap. Oops.
Yeah, it's alright. It's alright. That's not that offensive. But yeah, well, you know, it's
only
time to
kidding,
get cultured. Watch Corner Gas, yo. Also support ladies in comedy and go watch Parks and Recreation, even though I haven't watched it yet. I'm gonna shut up. I'll watch 30 Rock. It's also really funny.
Duhad,
Yo.
if you're gonna do a browser proxy switching thing for Netflix, I just wanted to say I recommend the Hola one.
The Holo one?
Hola, sorry, it's called.
Hola.
I guess you'd pronounce it Ola because it's
Hola.
Hola, but
Hola.
anyway, HOLA exclamation mark. It's a proxy.
Hola!
You can view things from any location in the world that you might want, but for Netflix they have the options of British, English, American, and Canadian, since that's the only Netflixes that exist.
Yeah, fair enough. That's super
that's a
weird
thing.
though. That's like, aha, no, you are not worthy, Americans, of watching these things that
It
are
actually
special for
has to
Canada
do
or
with
Canada.
international distribution rights and licensing. But,
No, I'm sure. It's like, oh no, you can't show it to them because we sold the rights to that one to Hulu. But like, no, you can do it in the U.S. because the people in the U.S. didn't sell to Hulu; they sold it to Netflix. Like, this is so complicated.
So those of us just flick a proxy, and actually, if you're in Canada, then you have to flick a proxy to watch Hulu in general. So we do that too.
Oh man, jeez.
Canadians can't watch Hulu. It's like, what?
That's super weird. You know, it probably has nothing to do with it, but I like to imagine that the reason you get Netflix is because the guy who invented Netflix is actually from Maine. And as I've said before, Maine is basically just America and Canada.
Yes, and I completely wholeheartedly agree with that thing.
So like, yeah, no, it's just like, oh hey, yeah, sure, put Canada on our next list.
But the Canadians are my friends.
I was born and raised by
And then
by a pack
Hulu's
of wild
like,
Canadians.
Uncultured people. We don't need to associate with those. But we just use blockers. Proxies. Sorry.
Fair enough. Oh god, now I'm just thinking of like the raised by wolves thing, but just for like Canadians. Like I was born, you know, my family was lost in a snowstorm while visiting Quebec, and I was found and raised by a pack of wild Canadians.
They nursed us back to
But that
health
would be
with
the
warm
best
maple
thing
syrup.
ever because we're so nice and well mannered.
Yes. Oh god, I'm just imagining like the Tarzan parody where it's just like, you know, this guy is born and raised in Canada, and then a group of American tourists find him and they're like, wait, you're an American. You know, we'll take you back to America
Oh
and
my God.
and
This
re-educate you. And
Of something. Have you
Go
guys
ahead.
seen Modern Family before?
I have, yes, I have.
There's one episode where one of the characters' mothers comes to visit him, and they're all American characters. And she's like, yes, I have met a lover named Chad, and I'm going to move with him to an exotic country. And they're like, what? And she's like, yes, we're moving to Canada. And they're like, oh. And she's like, no, French Canada. It's like, no, that's not an exotic country.
Oh goodness.
But that's a good example of the othering, I think, that happens of Canadians in America. Like, they don't even know that we're here.
It's like, oh, it's Canada. Actually, to be fair, like I not only are some of my best friends on the YouTubes Canadians, you guys, well y'all, by which I mean Pat Saban and Nani. I'm sure I know there's a couple of other Canadian fans like who are on the YouTube. I like you all too.
Well, if we do a Corner Gas episode, we'll draw more attention from Canadians.
Oh yeah, probably. I know that we have a bunch of Canadian fans.
Call.
Oh jeez.
That and hockey.
But I'm also a
Yeah,
big fan
do
of
hockey,
of YouTube-based celebrities on the YouTubes, like the two best friends. They are who are actually 4 people, not 2, which is a little confusing. But they're Canadian. They're as Canadian as Canadians go, and I like them. Canada. Hey, and it's that guy, and he's late. That's all right. That guy. We don't blame you for ruining everything like you did.
You missed almost everything, but hi.
So some guy, that guy who is now some guy, do you a big fan of Corner Gas?
Corner Gas!
Corner
You know what this
Gas.
is? I will die of happiness.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember if some guy's Canadian or like German or something. He's got a messed up laptop. He's got a messed up looking face as well. No, we love you, some guy. Also, this stupid sound program is starting to create slight feedback into my earballs, but I think
Your earballs.
my earballs. They appear to be fine again though. Okay. He doesn't remember that. Sorry. That's a shame. Some guy. It apparently is the cornerstone of Canada, the cultural touch point
Amazing.
that everyone knows. It's like The Simpsons, but for Canadians.
Something like that. I would maybe relate it to the Cosby Show, except that the Cosby Show had lessons in it, and Corner Gascast doesn't. So
Yeah,
yeah, maybe
fair,
it's The
fair,
Simpsons.
okay.
I've honestly never seen The Simpsons.
Well,
So-
I say The Simpsons because it's like, you know, even if it's kind of become a running joke about how it's like never died and kind of not been good since like season 10 or whatever, it was kind of like the show that in a large way like kind of defined American culture for a really, really, really long time. It was like, you know, the show. And then they also made a movie at one point.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah,
know it's
maybe.
this huge thing. I just am completely unaware of it.
Yeah, it's funny. I honestly think it's still funny. It's a cute, clever, funny little show. It's like, I mean, like it was at the time like super raunchy and out there though compared to all the shows that are considered raunchy and out there these days. It's absolutely
That's why I never got to
nothing
watch it.
remotely. Yeah. That's fair, but yeah, it's like it was like at the time it was like super duper like edgy and like subversive, and nowadays it's, you know, super quaint and not, because of like all the other, like every other comedy show out there these days is for adults and is like super raunchy and edgy and stuff. It's kind of silly how that happens.
Okay,
But,
so I have a completely random and unrelated question based on something I just saw on the internet.
go ahead.
And I shouldn't have been
Oh,
on the
some
internet
guy's
while I'm trying to
Canadian and you
focus
don't
on
know
this,
about Corner
but
Gas?
hey.
What?
I just went to YouTube to just be like, oh, check my subscriptions for after we're done with this. And then I saw a little video that said Christmas nostalgia, grandma got run over by a reindeer. And I'm like, was that a Canadian thing? Is that something that Canadians know, or is that an American thing too?
Grandma got run over by reindeer?
Mm.
Yeah, that's in America as well. I don't know if it's as
okay.
big, but it's definitely, I definitely heard
Because I
it.
remember being this really obscure thing that they used to air on Christmas, and my dad was totally in love with it, and I don't know why.
Oh, well, the
Um,
movie?
Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
video.
the movie I have not, like, I don't think it's nearly as much of a thing in the U.S. Like it, like I know of it, but like it's super not like a super big thing or anything.
Well, I assume you guys probably have bigger budget Christmas movies than we do.
You'd think, and we do, but like the classics are still like the old like claymation, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, and like Charlie Brown and all that stuff.
Oh yeah, we see those too, but we actually have. Actually they stopped airing it. But when I was a kid, we had a Christmas lineup of like these one-off videos that you will now be able to scour the internet for years and never find again. But that was one that I actually remember being like, hey, that was not this one weird obscure thing, but maybe it is obscure in America.
Maybe.
Just curious.
I think it's obscure, but I definitely have heard of it before. Like, I know the song well enough, and I'm fairly certain the movie is not completely unknown, though definitely not like any sort of like big traditional thing.
Hey, you were aware of what it was, so I'm impressed.
Ah, and some guys watch about 8 minutes of The Simpsons. That's fair, I guess. Whatever, fair, whatever. But yeah, so Corner Gas, it's a thing. You should
It's
watch
the
it.
best thing.
Apparently, apparently it is like the definition of what it is to be a Canadian. It is.
It defined Canadian humor. I can't be wrong about this. Wouldn't you agree, Pad Save?
I would. It brought what we can bring to the table to the table.
Wow.
Like,
some
it's
guy-
so completely different from American humor. It's wonderful. I like
I
it.
know, and you were saying that like when you were at the theater, like most of the people there were like in their older years. But when I was watching this, my mom could not understand, could not fathom why I liked it. It's like it's funny. It's like, no, it's not. It is.
It is. Trust us. It is.
Well, I grew up on it, so I think it's that's my definition of what is funny. And so then after that, when I started watching American stuff, I'm kind of like, it will never be quite as funny to me, especially bro humor. I don't get that, but
Bro humor. What would you
that's what
define
I
as
call
bro
those
humor?
movies that are like
Yeah,
for
bro.
men to
Let's
go
go and
see.
do like freaking.
And it's kind of
American
like a lot of like what I would consider crude jokes,
Yeah,
or necessarily like politically incorrect and distasteful jokes.
makes sense.
So that kind of humor, I don't ever understand why that's funny. But
Well, to kind of be fair, like Corner Gas is half the jokes are of belittling like Hank.
yeah, that's true too.
Okay.
I will not
was
say that it does not have flaws.
but it was Hank was the sexy Fisher guy.
Ah,
Yes,
I remember that
was,
episode.
Tom Fisher of Sexy
that was
Fisherman
so
Hank.
amazing.
Yeah, the thing with that was because he's like the guy that everyone kind of thinks is like the outcast. It's like he's the token.
He's the town idiot.
Yeah, yeah, and then it's like you just go fishing with him, and he starts talking fishing, and it's not Hank. It's like Fishing Hank, and Fishing Hank is not Hank, and it's weird and confusing.
And just stop it with the sexy fish talk.
Oh, jeez.
It's one of the better things. Do you remember the episode, Pad Save, where the whole episode is just based on arguing that the citizens of Dog River, because they're so closed off from the rest of the world, do never see real attractive people, thus their level of attraction of what they consider attractive is significantly lowered.
Yes, and that's why Brent.
And they tried to
becomes,
make it
like,
so
a 7.
significantly scientific, and it was ridiculous.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, like what was it? They pegged Brent at a 7.
I don't remember.
They pegged him like ridiculous times. Like, why is he that? Well, because based off what we have, he's the best, and because there's nothing to compare it to, then it's the score.
For sake of reference, for those who are not familiar with the show, Brent is a character who is an overweight, middle-aged, balding man who is apparently a 7 on the attractive scale, solely because there are no other available men.
Oh, he also likes comic books and chili cheese dogs.
Oh, my.
And he runs a gas station. That's his goal. His goal in life is to just collect comic books and stuff.
Nice. Oh, goodness. I know. It's like thinking about that, jeez. Yeah, another show that you probably would enjoy, though. It's quite a bit different, though. It has elements of this sort of humor. If you've ever seen 30 Rock, is very amusing.
Don't even know what it is.
It is a show created by Tina Fey, who's a very, very funny lady. About it's like kind of the polar opposite in this regard, in that it is about she used to be the head writer for Saturday Night Live, and it's kind of like a parody of her time writing for Saturday Night Live. So it's like living in New York, being an underappreciated TV writer, with like utterly insane corporate overlords and completely unmanageable superstar casts. But there's like the style of humor is very kind of silly and fun. There's the mentioning about like sexy Hank the fisherman and like the tuna skill on the guy and stuff. Like, it just reminds me, there's like this whole thing where like they kind of have this funny thing where they do the whole relationship jokes and stuff, but with the twist that the the main character, played by Tina Fey herself, is just considered to be like the most, she's just like the most like asexual, non-asexual person. So like she like dates people, but she has like absolutely no interest in people outside of like the concept of dating. And there's like this whole joke, like this whole thing where like she just like like almost every season she has a different horrible, stupid boyfriend. And like in one thing they had the guy who plays the main character on Mad Men and as like the sexiest man in New York, who is a super nice guy, but he's just the worst at everything because he's so handsome that literally everyone just lets him get away with anything and tells him he's brilliant at it because of how handsome he is. So
Oh
he's just
god,
like
the
he like
ultimate
tries,
Gary Stew.
yes, except that like he literally cannot actually do any of the things that he thinks he can do. So like at one point he's like driving around on a motorcycle. Because his motorcycle instructor was just like, oh yeah, no, you're great at driving a motorcycle. And then you see him driving the motorcycle, he's just like stopping and starting, falling over constantly, slowly rolling down the street.
This does sound good.
Yeah, and it's like he's a cook, but like he's like a certified 4-star cook, but he has no idea how food's mixed. He just like pours Gatorade on like noodles and stuff. He's like, oh yeah, no, the lady,
God.
like I tried this with this chef lady, and she said it was delicious. It's just like, no, everyone's just doing nice things for you because they think you look handsome.
We could use to make more fun of that kind of nonsense.
Yeah, no, it's cute, and it's all very lady focused, which is always nice.
I enjoy that, being
Yeah.
a lady.
Also, they before he became famous, they had Peter Dinklage, the little person actor who became very famous for Game of Thrones. They had him on for a really fun subversion of the whole little person role, where she dates him for a brief period of time, and he's just like the greatest dude in the world. He's like a UN diplomat who's like super cultured and just like the nicest guy ever, but he just gets the worst luck because of his stature. It's like that.
I like the idea of this diverse casting, quirky humor.
Yep.
I'm on board for this.
I've seen a couple episodes and it's pretty good. I never really got into it. I think I might have been halfway through a later season, so I never got the initial humor.
Yeah, a lot of the jokes kind of like half the jokes are kind of one-off silliness, and like the other half are very like character driven. So it really helps to watch the show through from beginning to end because there's a lot of character growth and character humor. So it can be a little bit harder to watch it out of order, but it should all be on American Netflix at least. So another one I recommend, Parks and Recreation.
It'll be on some version of Netflix.
Yeah, it's on some version of Netflix. Yeah, but so 30 Rock and Parks and Recreation, both very funny American shows for people who like funny ladies and kind of subversive situational comedies. And Corner Gas, a Canadian comedy show that's very funny. That is for people who like also kind of silly subversive sitcom humor.
Just ridiculousness. Just
ridiculous.
outright ridiculousness.
Ridiculous.
The kind of things that would happen if Canadians tried to do British humor and then failed, but actually succeeded.
It's like if Monty Python had been more grounded and Canadian.
I was actually kind of thinking more along the lines of Mr. Bean, but sure.
Okay, there you go. Oh goody gumdrops. Jeez. Like the oh god, I do love awkward British humor. Like I'll say this, like I love like British humor is like everyone knows the great random British humor shows, but one other thing that the BBC has done spectacularly is just the most awkward comedies ever. Like the comedies that are just so dry and so uncomfortable. They're just great. Like have you ever seen
Black Books?
Yeah. Blackadder is really funny. That's a kind of a more kind of like sarcastic humor. But have you ever seen The American Office? You ain't seen nothing, son. Because the British Office is an absolute gem of just uncomfortable awkwardness.
I've seen a little bit of it, and I can agree to that.
Yeah, it's like, oh goodness, you watch it, and you're just like, oh, ooh, I would not want to work at this office. Like this, the boss is so horrible. He's such a he's trying so hard to be like everyone's friend. He's just so bad. Whoosh, whoosh.
Although one everybody should see is the IT Crowd.
The IT Crowd's also fantastic. I also, for a slightly older crowd, I recommend Peep Show, which is sounds a little bit worse than it is. It's a very funny show. It actually has Mitch and Webb, who also made the extremely funny sketch comedy show That Mitch and Webb Look. But also very good. And I guess as long as we're just like throwing out a couple last recommendations in the last 30 seconds of the show, If you've never seen Keen and Peele, very, very funny new show, new American show. A pair of black comedians who became famous initially on YouTube. Extremely funny, extremely well written, real eye for solid filmmaking. Like both guys just know their craft as filmmakers. So their parodies actually look a lot like the type of movies and TV shows and stuff they're parodying. Like they're dead on for that sort of stuff. So recommend Keen and Peele. Good stuff. Anyway, our weeks were all good, but we're out of time. This actually went pretty well. So once again, Corner Gas, the Corner Gascast.
I sold you on this, and you haven't even seen it yet.
I'm gonna watch it. It's looking pretty fun. See a bunch of you tomorrow for the Saturday stream, and the rest of you, I'll see you guys next week.
Bye bye.